Hey guys, I'm Chris Benetti, host of the Smart Author podcast. In today's episode, I have a special one for you. I actually recently did a full masterclass for Natasha Denman of 48 Hour Author and her private mastermind. The masterclass was on everything I know about selling books on Amazon advertising. So it's actually nothing held back, as much value as I could possibly give. And I wanted to give it to you today for free. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, head over to YouTube. You'll still be able to get some nuggets by listening, but you're definitely going to get a lot more from the visuals on YouTube. So I hope you enjoy. And if you have any questions, let me know below in the comments. And I look forward to hearing what you think. Anyway, enjoy the masterclass. Who am I? So Nat's obviously given me a bit of an introduction already. I am someone who's been in the space for quite some time. And like Nat mentioned, I've helped sell over 20 million in book sales and digital offers. One thing I specialize at is helping my clients create sales funnels and leverage with their assets so that we can put an ad up somewhere and they're not reliant on the one having to do the selling ultimately. And that's really like what I specialize with now with book marketing. So my client comes to me with a book and we really help to sell that book with leverage so that they don't have to go out to do in-person things to sell their book, essentially. I think results speak louder than words overall. And if you guys were looking at my website before, you probably saw these. So these are some of my client results. Michelle Cunningham, we launched Do It Anyway Girl. First 19 days, 267 books sold, 2,000 ad spend, 5,000 revenue, which is really awesome. Neil, we helped sell 1,000 books in the first 4 months and create 15,000 in recurring revenue for him every single month. George Markowski, 500 books after 5 months and $70,000 in revenue. This is ultimately the book sales leading to his back-end core business service as well. So really awesome results there. Andrea, we helped in the parenting niche sell 258 books in the first 30 days and 5,000 in revenue. I think the standard results that most people achieve as a self-published author is 100 book sales in the lifetime of their book. And I'm sure Nat probably has better statistics than I do on that. But I think that if we are proactive with how we market our book, and if we use some of these leveraged assets like Amazon ads, then, that number doesn't have to be 100. You can really, even in the first 30 days, you can really look at increasing that number quite a bit. And this is my latest case study. My team actually messaged me this morning and said that this 481 is not accurate. It's actually 492. So an extra 11 sales than what was written here. But this is the first 3 weeks of launching this book by Scott Alford. And I would say the actual majority of these sales here have come from Amazon. We've probably done maybe 200 with Facebook ads, and the rest have been through Amazon. So really, really good numbers here. So as a new or even well-established author, I would say that the biggest issue that every single author has, obviously you have Nat, you have the resource and help from her. She basically helps you guys write your books. That's, previously what would potentially have been the biggest challenge in getting a book out there. But today, I find that most people just don't know how to market their book. They don't know how to sell their book. And so they go through all of this effort of doing the writing and making sure that everything's, perfect and really dialed in for the person they want to potentially work with or get their message out to. And then when it comes time to launch their book or even market their book, it's let's go talk to friends and family. Let's go find avenues to sell my book. And so selling the book is really what I see in today's age, the hardest thing to do. And I find that there's 2 paths, right? Like you've got the classic matrix, red and blue pill. So the red pill, much leverage or control, is path A. And then the blue pill is a lot of leverage and control. So I find that path A, this is going to like local bookstores and asking if you can put your book in there. This might be going and talking to friends and family and asking if they'll buy a copy. This might be going to a local event and handing out or trying to sell copies in person. There's a lot of activities here that you ultimately get stuck doing that take a lot of your time at the end of the day. And there's no leverage, right? You have to be the one, or someone you know has to be the one going out there and doing these activities, right? So I want to try and take the time from here and move it over here where you have leverage and can really do more things. And ultimately with the path B or the blue pill, there's really just a few things that you can do to make book sales with leverage. And that is launch a funnel, which is a way of selling your book, a sales funnel, and run ads. And there's several different ads platforms. There's Amazon, there's Facebook, there's TikTok, etc. Like there's plenty out there, and they all want your money in exchange for getting you results, which in this case is book sales. So these companies here, their business is selling ads. Ultimately, especially the social platforms, their business is selling ads and getting you results so that they can continue to sell you ads and get you results. Like it's a overarching ecosystem that allows for them to stay in business and to make money. And ultimately, you get rewarded by playing that game. Today, we're going to talk about Amazon ads, obviously, and launching that stuff. And again, I'm going to demystify this and really make it quite straightforward for you guys so that there's no challenges here. And we're going to have a Q&A at the end of this session as well. So by all means, you can write some questions down that you might want to ask me, even technical stuff. And we'll definitely tackle all of that stuff towards the end. Okay, so again, what I mentioned before was that there's only a few ways. Now, the few ways can go from simple to complicated. And if I look at the left-hand side, which is my complicated side, we've got funnels, we've got Facebook ads, TikTok ads, etc. This is like extremely complicated, especially for someone who isn't savvy with setting up websites and doing digital marketing. There's a lot of variable assets that come into place when you run sales funnels, especially with Facebook ads. We have the ads to consider, images for the ads. There's copy for the ads, so copywriting. There's targeting as well, and that's even before we get to the hard part, which is the funnels. The funnels, there's basically all of this times 10. So it's quite complicated to get results on that side without someone like myself who knows how to play that game. And then on the simple side, truly, I think the most simple way for you to run ads and sell copies of your book is with Amazon ads. That's why I really wanted to focus heavily on this. And that's why I asked Nat if I could do training on this specifically, because like I said, we can literally get you some ads launched by the end of this session. So the question then becomes, how do I run Amazon ads? So this is basically a quick walkthrough of the process. So ultimately, we want to have a book published on Amazon KDP. If you're in Australia, this is the URL for you. newzealand.co.nz, I believe, America.com, UK.co.uk, and there's heaps of other. There's like 21 different marketplaces. So just make sure you're obviously listing your book in your own marketplace. With this, there's a few other things that we need to make sure that we have set up. Working with Nat, you've obviously, spent the time to write a good description for your book listing. So we want to have a good description, something that explains the book really well. We want to have a good book cover because people do judge a book by a cover, like especially from a marketing sense. Most likely, if you can, do a launch period where you get some reviews as well. So people definitely look at the reviews. If you've got 0 reviews on a book, it's going to be a little bit harder to run ads to it and have it successfully work for you. So even if you can have friends, maybe most people will lower their book to $1 when they launch their book on Amazon, Kindle version, and then they'll ask for reviews. So if you can maybe ask some friends, try and get 10, 20, 30, 40, as much as you can. Ask your network if you have, a Facebook community, if you have anything like that. See if you can get some reviews when you launch the book, because it does really help for social proof. Basically, we need to just have a published book that has a few of these assets in place that done reasonably well. The second is going to register. So you can do this at this URL in the top corner. This is not country specific, so you can just go to advertising.amazon.com. On this page, you'll basically see the registration section at the top. Select what country you live in and want to market for. We can ultimately come back and register for more marketplaces. If you want to run ads, let's just say you have a book that you want to run in the USA and do marketing over there. You can come back here and register for additional marketplaces later on. But I would highly recommend just start with the country that you're in and want to market to. And then ultimately, we just need to select this option down here, which is I've got a Kindle direct publishing account, right? Most of you will have published your book that way on Amazon. The third step is to set up your billing. Without billing set up, you cannot run ads. So just get it out of the way, go in there and set up your billing. There'll be an account option. So account billing, and you'll be able to find it pretty easily. So it's pretty much time to create some ads. So hopefully that starting point was pretty straightforward for you. So you guys can see my browser now. So, all right, this is the dashboard for ads. It's quite straightforward. There's pretty much a create campaign button. I think you'll be actually greeted with a option like this when you first log in. So you should be greeted with an option like this where it allows you to choose your campaign type. Pretty much every single person here, no matter what country you're in, we're just going to use the sponsored products option here. Actually, let me just switch back. I need to just explain the campaign types first, and then we can come back into creating some ads. Okay, so there's 3 campaigns. The first is automatic targeting, and this is easy enough for your grandma to do. It's basically just clicking a few buttons and going and launching the campaign. The second option is product targeting. This is a little bit harder, but I've got an easy solution for you, and I'll show you that as we go back to my browser in a second here. And ultimately, the way that we do the product targeting campaign is by finding other books that are similar to ours, grabbing all of the products IDs for those books and running our ads against their book, essentially. So it's pretty straightforward. The third option in Australia is the hardest, and that's keyword targeting. And that's just because there isn't really any tools built for keyword targeting in Australia at the moment, unfortunately. But you know, for the US people here, the Canadian people, there's actually some good options for you that I can touch on briefly as well. Okay, so let's go back to my browser again, and I'll show you how to set up each type of campaign. So the new campaign, once we're in here, we basically can select what books we want to advertise against. And there's usually going to be like your physical book and your Kindle book. So you can choose one or both. Doesn't really matter too much. The automatic targeting, like I said, this is the most simple targeting you can do. Literally all you need to do is click or make sure that this automatic targeting option is available and selected. And then we want to go ahead and just click dynamic bids up and down, and then name our campaign and set our budget. That's literally all you have to do for an automatic Amazon targeting campaign. And most of the time, guys, this is actually one of the most effective campaigns you can run, funnily enough. And it's literally the least amount of effort. So I would recommend that you guys just set a $10 daily budget and start there. And then as the ads work, Amazon will usually recommend that we increase the budget, and you'll get little increased budget or out of budget error messages. And you can just increase the budget incrementally as you start to see some sales come in. Probably don't use less than $10 a day to start with if you can. And that'll be a good enough amount for you to test each campaign with. Regarding this as well, no, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's kind of all you need to know with the automatic campaign type. So I'm just going to leave this and we'll go in creating the next one. So as we go into the next ones, I'm going to go into like other pages here and show you how to go ahead and grab the information you need to launch those types of campaigns. So the next one is going to be our manual targeting. And manual targeting, again, we go into the keyword area and the product area. So let's start with the product targeting option. There's really two subcategories of this one. The first is doing a category version, which basically means that we're not targeting specific products. We're targeting categories of products. So this book is obviously a property investing book. So the category that we're going to be doing our advertising on is going to be buying and selling homes, business motivation, self-improvement, real estate. And so we can go ahead and add all of these targets. With Australia, you have a minimum of 10 cents bid. So what I would recommend is coming in here and doing a custom bid and just setting it to 10 cents like this, and then adding all, so that you don't have to go through and manually update each one. So this is basically the suggested categories. And then from there, we can go in, search more categories that may be relevant. Just keep in mind with this, we're actually going through all of Amazon, not just books. So it's very important that we find the books area, and then we further go into the categories from there. If you go ahead and do, advertise your book on video games, it's probably not going to get any conversions. You're not going to sell any books unless your book is about video games, like kind of thing. So just make sure that you go into the books area first, because that's where people will be looking for books. And then you can, again, this one's a property investing one. So maybe business and money makes sense for us. And then you would basically just come into here and just try and find the ones that may be relevant, maybe business development and entrepreneurship, potentially, probably not, right? Like it's maybe investing makes sense. So I might come into here and add the investing category and then try and find some other ones from there. So none of those really make sense. Maybe marketing and sales, you just have to determine and take your best initiative on what you think may work. And ultimately, adding too many in this right-hand side is better than adding not enough. So just literally anything that is like remotely close enough for you to do your targeting with, by all means, add it in there and go from there. Coming back down, basically this campaign bidding strategy is going to be the same for every single campaign that we run. So we're actually just going to click on dynamic bids up and down again. Then we're going to name our campaign. And this is an insight to how I usually name campaigns. I'll usually say what it is. So this is a manual categories. And then I'll just say, okay, what's the bidding strategy? So I'll just go like dynamic up and down. And that's basically the campaign name that I'll put here. So as we go into doing products, we would go manual products. As we go into doing keywords, we would go manual keywords. If we were just doing an automatic campaign, we would just do automatic. So that's pretty much how I name campaigns for my clients, to make things organized and clear overall. And then, yeah, again, I would recommend a minimum of $10 per campaign that you run overall. Okay, so going back to the next subcategory, this is the individual products. And this is where you'll start to get recommendations for other books that are similar to yours. Okay, and so we can basically go into each one of these and add them right away. Again, just make sure, like if you're in Australia, just set this custom, the bid to custom bid 10 cents. And then we also want to just select both exact and expanded. And then we can add all of these most likely. Like most of these are pretty much all property books or investing books. And the way Amazon kind of determines what books to show you here as suggested books is based off of your book listing description. So when you publish a book with Amazon Kindle Direct, it ultimately will look at the description that you have for that, and then it will show other things that are similar. So most of these are going to be relevant to us. And then to further add more, because we've currently got 220, I would recommend we try and get this to like 600 roughly, if we can. So the way that I usually do this is I'll open up my Amazon marketplace. So again, this is the country that you will be running your ads in. So for us Australians, it's amazon.com.au. If you're in Canada, .co.ca or .ca, sorry. If you're in UK, .co.uk. If you're in America.com. And then you basically want to try and navigate to the best-selling area for books. So it's a bit different for every single marketplace. If I'm in Australia, it's basically under books. And then we've got a little bestsellers tab here, which makes it really simple. From there, we can pretty much look at the categories and find the best-selling categories, or the bestsellers in the category that we need to run our ads for. So if I'm going to be doing property investing, I'd probably go into business and economics. So this is the bestsellers in this category. From here, I'm going to go and find something that's a little bit more relevant to me. So maybe investing. Cool. And maybe I might run ads to every single listing in here. Now you're probably wondering like, how do I get the IDs to do that? So I've actually developed an extension. It's called the Smart Author ASIN scraper. And ASINs is basically the terminology for a product ID on Amazon. It's a little bit confusing. But basically this allows me to find all of the product IDs for every single book on this page and copy it to my clipboard. So that means now that I can basically come in here and under individual products, rather than suggested, I can go enter list, and then I can actually paste in all of the product IDs from the best-selling area and click target. Now you'll find that there's already several that were in here. So you can see it only added about 72 out of the 100 that I just copied, because it basically will copy this page and the next page. So what we can do is now find other categories that we can potentially scrape and run our ads to. So I'm going to go and just do this a few times across a few different best-selling categories and copy to my clipboard and just continue to paste in here. So I'll have a link for the ASIN scraper tool towards the end of this presentation. So you guys don't need to worry about that just yet. I'll make it really easy for you to find a little bit later on. So yeah, the process here is literally just going into different categories. Maybe we start in the business and economics. We can see here that there's now a real estate's one. So we can just continue to, again, copy all of the product IDs that are relevant potentially to you. This one's taking a bit of time to load. Just try and, okay. Cool. All right, so once we've done that, we can pretty much go and set the budget, do the campaign name, and launch the campaign. That's pretty much the product and the category targeting in a nutshell here for us. And then last but not least, we have the keyword targeting. This is, again, a little bit harder for Australia because there's no tools that help us do keyword research, unfortunately. So we basically just have to go off the suggested list here and basically add them from there. So keywords is basically if someone's searching something in the Amazon search bar and showing results for us. This is glitching out for some reason. So if I was to like search property investing book or something, that's probably a keyword you want to rank for. So if I look at this page, we might start to see some sponsored ads in here, and that's ultimately what the keyword search is about. These ones up here are probably sponsored, potentially. You can see here, there's a little sponsored tag over here. So these ones are running ads right now. So we've got Steve McKnight and a couple other people. I think they're all Steve, actually. So that's what you're setting up with a keyword targeting campaign. And then we've basically got different types here. So we've got the broad, the phrase, and the exact. So the exact is if I'm searching or trying to rank for property investing book, then that would be an exact keyword that I would enter. A phrase is, a part of someone, writing something in. So like learn how to property invest. If I'm, doing a keyword for property invest, then that would be a part of that overarching phrase. And therefore, my ad would show on that phrase overall. And then broad is basically something that's loosely connected to what someone's searching for. So you kind of want to just have all of them selected, and that will kind of make sure that you're doing enough to ultimately get in front of those people. So I would just come in here and click add all. And this actually gave us a good amount of keywords, 480. There's quite a few that don't have any suggested bids, meaning that people probably aren't bidding on them yet. So, you know, we might not rank for all of these, but again, it's better to have more than less overall. So that's pretty much the keyword one in a nutshell. And the reason why I said it's a bit harder is just because we don't have any tools to actually proactively get more keywords, if that makes sense. Generally speaking, I've found that the keywords campaigns aren't necessarily as effective as the product targeting or even the automatic targeting campaigns. And so that's ultimately, you know, again, just coming in here and updating the campaign name and setting the budget. That's basically, you know, how to run Amazon ads overall, how to set up the campaigns at least. So I'll just jump back into my presentation here and we can keep going through some bits and pieces around that. Again, if you guys have questions around any of this stuff, you know, please write it down and we'll have a Q&A at the end that you can ask that. So at the end of the day, what do you think the hardest part of Amazon ads is? Let me know, guys. What do you think may be the hardest part here? I'd love to see some thoughts in the chat here. Is it maybe the targeting ad copy that converts? Any other thoughts? Chris, Louise, getting prepared with review. Yeah, reviews are definitely hard. Conversion, yeah, definitely. So what if I told you it's none of that? Definitely all of it helps. But the hardest part is actually the bidding. And bidding is basically the lifeline of your Amazon campaigns. The way it works is whoever gets the most bids or whoever bids the most gets an impression. Whoever gets the impression potentially gets the click. So let's just think about an ad. An impression basically is if someone's scrolling Amazon and they see your ad, that's them giving you an impression, essentially. So without us getting the impression, there's no way for us to make sales, ultimately. The impression is important because once someone sees our ad, then they may click on our ad. And then if they click on our ad, we potentially now can get a sale. Without the impression in the first place, we're not going to even get close to getting a sale on Amazon. And the way that we get impressions is by bidding more than our competition at the end of the day. So if we aren't bidding enough, Amazon's not going to spend our budget because the way that they spend our budget is based on bidding. It's much different than the Facebook platforms or the social platforms that run ads. They'll spend your daily budget, no worries. They're not afraid to waste your money. Where Amazon is a little bit more conservative, they won't actually spend your money unless people are seeing your ad, which I guess is the same for Facebook, but Facebook is a little bit more aggressive. And if people aren't seeing our ad, they're not clicking on our ad, and therefore Amazon won't take our money, which is good and bad. Like it's good in the fact that we're not necessarily going to be wasting money with Amazon. So you do have some level of protection against that stuff. But it's bad because we're obviously not going to be spending money to make sales, which is ultimately what we're here to do with Amazon advertising. Okay, cool. I will absolutely explain bidding here in a second for you as we come in here. So the question to ask is, how do I bid more than my competition ultimately? So I'll quickly show you how to bid more. I'll show you what bidding is just to come back to that. I didn't really explain it properly when we were setting the campaigns up. And then I'll show you how to bid more as well. So coming back to our campaigns, we can see here we've got this bid column. So what this means is bidding is essentially the way that the ads work. And it's all based off of, like, if I want to show my book for this keyword in this example, I'm okay to bid $1 for that. Okay, so if I bid $1 and the competition is bidding 50 cents, then obviously I'm willing to bid more than they are. And therefore I have a higher chance of now my ad showing against this keyword. So if someone types in barefoot investor for families, my ad is going to show over someone else who's potentially bidding 50 cents. If we're looking at the product targeting, it's similar. So if we look at these areas here, there's a suggested bid, which is what Amazon recommends you bid for each one of these categories to show your ads. And you can see here that it's showing there's 62 to 104 products in this category, 800 to 1300 here, etc. So if I'm bidding 2 cents to show my book in front of this whole category, which again, if we relate this to an actual Amazon site, it's one of the categories in the books area. So if I come into here, business economics, and then further come down into potentially real estate, this is the category where my ad will show. If I'm bidding enough, then my ad will show here. If I'm not bidding enough, then the competitors will basically take the spot from me. So you've just asked, it's like an auction. We're bidding for airtime on Amazon. Yeah, exactly. So rather than airtime, in Amazon's case, it's impressions. And so impressions basically meaning people viewing your ad. So we're basically bidding on people viewing our ad. And if someone bids more than us, then they're going to be shown the ad, or their ad's going to show. If we bid more than them, our ad's going to show. And that's basically how it works. So it's almost like, yeah, like an auction. So there's really, once you've launched your campaigns, the way that you bid more, if I just go into all campaigns, let's just pretend I've launched 3 campaigns here for the different types. If I go into the campaign, let's just say manual products, there's really 2 things that we need to do to bid more. If I go into the ad group itself, we have this targeting option up here. And this will basically show all of the products that we're bidding on right now. So first of all, just making sure that your number here is equal to or greater than what is shown on the suggested bid. That's going to automatically allow us to outbid competition a little bit more. If it's showing like no current data and things like that, then there's probably no one bidding on this. So it's really not a competitive product. Like you may just win the bid automatically. The second place is if I go back into the campaign again, under campaign settings, there's actually an area, because we're already doing dynamic bids up and down, which basically means Amazon is going to raise your bid by a maximum of 100% of what you're bidding on. So like if I have a $1 bid and I select this option, Amazon may spend up to $2 to show my ad for that particular product or that particular keyword or category. And so that allows us to automatically get in front of more people or outbid our competition. So that's the first step that we need to make sure is enabled. And then the second area is this area here. This allows us to spend even more money automatically if we need to. The 2 types of pages, the top of search, which is the first page, which is essentially showing ads here. And then the second page is the product pages. So that's when I'm like in, let's just say, Steve Pelosi's book here, showing ads in this area. Let's just say in this area down here, that would be the product pages area, essentially. So if I bid more in one of these 2 areas, then that's going to basically allow me to, at scale, bid more than my competition. So we can see here that a $1 bid will be $4 for this placement. And with dynamic bids up and down, we can bid up to $8. So my $1 turns into $8. So you can quickly see how that can start to outrank your competition's bidding and allow your ads to show. Because again, the hardest part on Amazon ads is not actually selling your book, but it's actually bidding enough to sell your book, to get the impression, to get the click to then sell your book. So it's important for us to make sure that this dynamic bids is up and down is set, and that we're also, increasing the bidding amount. I would say from, let's just say 70% up all the way to 300%, 400%. You can go up to 900% here ultimately. So if you're not able to spend your daily budget on Amazon ads, then this is the place to come and raise that stuff. And again, that's if I'm going back from the campaign itself, you would click into the campaign and then under campaign settings, and then it's in here. That's pretty much that. It's, once you understand it, you've done it once or twice, you'll really quickly understand how to do this again. And of course you have this recording as well. So, you've always got this to look back on. There's a lot of technical stuff in here, guys. So if you're confused or overwhelmed, absolutely understand. But yeah, definitely just watch the technical part of this training again and you'll get an understanding. Yeah, like it's really just a play of making sure that you're bidding enough. Amazon won't spend more than your budget, right? So it'll just say that the campaign is out of budget for the day. So don't worry about you having a $100 daily bill if you've raised this amount. It'll basically spend up to your budget, maybe a little bit more, and then it'll just like say out of budget and it will stop delivering for the day until tomorrow where you have budget again. So don't worry about wasting money or anything like that. But you just need to be a little bit more aggressive than the standard settings allow for. And this is how you do that. Cool. So what do you do to keep seeing results, right? So I've shown you 4 different types of campaigns you can launch. I've shown you the automatic auto targeting. I've shown you the categories. I've shown you the product and the keywords. So how do you keep seeing results? And that basically just comes down to you testing new products to run ads to, new keywords to run ads to, new categories to run ads to. So just test those things, right? It's all about testing. If you're not testing, then you don't know what's going to work. And I don't think anyone knows what works. At the end of the day, for me, my agency, it's all about testing. We do test campaigns to launch our clients' ads, and we usually run those for 30 days at least to get a really good understanding of what's working. And then from the 30 days onwards, we basically will continue to test different creatives, copy, targeting, etc. So it's all really just a big game. That's what marketing is, a big game of testing. So if you guys want to get the ASIN scraper that I mentioned, you can go to this URL here, smartauthormedia.com/tools. There's actually a video on this page that will show you how to set up a product targeting campaign as well. So, you've got this recording from Nat, but there's also a video there for you. To walk through that kind of stuff as well. And that'll basically show you how to get access to the tool itself. And if you guys want any help setting up this stuff, we do done for you Amazon ads as well. You can actually head to the URL at the bottom of the screen if you want to potentially check that out as well. So Nat, that's the end of my presentation. We can open up Q&A now. Hey, all right. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Like I said at the start of this episode, if you have any questions regarding anything I've listed here, by all means, drop them down below. This is, I definitely don't want to come in here and offer anything, but of course you saw the offer in the video as well. So if you guys wanted to take me up on that, by all means. And I'll also make sure that I link all of the resources that I mentioned in the video in the description as well. So I hope you enjoyed. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel and/or the podcast. And I look forward to hearing what you think about the training.